Hello. We're going to talk briefly today about the law of reflection. So, law of reflection. Now, first thing I'll state is it's a law, meaning whatever I'm going to write down right now, as far as we understand, is always true. Okay. So, law of reflection is actually pretty easy. Let's say you have any surface at all. Okay. So this is a surface of some kind. Okay. I'll write surface here. So it might be a piece of paper, it might be a mirror, it might be water, it might be cement, okay? Let's say that light from any source, a lamp, sunlight, whatever, strikes the surface, okay? So we call this the incident beam or ray. Yeah, and you'll hear me say both. So the incident ray or incident beam, okay? It just means the beam that's hitting. So what we do is we draw something called a normal line. Normal means perpendicular. So at this point where the light strikes the boundary between the air and the surface, okay, we draw a normal line. And I would suggest you also use a dashed line. And that is called the normal line. And that is perpendicular to the surface, okay? The angle between the incident ray and that normal line, this angle right there, okay? I'm going to label that theta. That's the symbol for angle, and a little sub I for incident. And I'll go ahead and label that as the angle of incidence. Okay, or incident angle, you might hear both, okay? So here's the law of reflection, and you saw this in a demo video, and we'll also do this in class at some point. The light reflects off the surface like so, and the angle it reflects at will be identical to the angle it hit at. We call this theta and a sub little r, and that is and I'll label it over here, angle of reflection. Okay. And of course, the beam is called the reflected beam or ray, reflected ray or beam. And again, you'll hear me use both, like so. Okay. So that's really simple. It's the law of reflection. We always will measure the angle from the normal line to the beam. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what about measuring to the surface? So like, for instance, this angle here and this angle here are going to be equal, okay? And that's true. But it turns out for later, we're going to make calculations with something called refraction. And when we do that, we have to have the angle as measured from the normal line, okay? So it's got to be from the normal line. Now, one last thing I'll mention. We also will talk about reflection off of a bumpy surface. So let's say over here, I draw a bumpy surface, okay? And the beam of light hits the bumpy surface, okay? Will the law of reflection still be true? Well, yes. At this point right there, if we draw a line perpendicular to the surface, okay, and the light will bounce off at an equal angle to that normal line. And then, now, by the way, in this particular case, it's going to bounce again, so we draw another normal line there, and then it's going to bounce about like that, okay? So at a microscopic level, the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection are always equal. That's why it's called the law of reflection. All right, hope that video was helpful, and thank you very much.